Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Excellence channel. My name is Dr. Emilio Ulloa, otherwise known as Dr. U.
My name is Dr. Fian Viotas, also known as Dr. V. And today we would like to provide a few practical tips on adaptive coping strategies that you can use during times of uncertainty.
That sounds good.
All right, so we have three sort of basic skills we want to talk about, and they're very practical skills you can apply when you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or anxious. And I think a lot of people are feeling a mix of those emotions at some point during the day. And the first thing I want to talk about is what you can do. The first thing I want to talk about is thinking about your thinking.
That sounds good. That's kind of an interesting one. I um, I know a lot of people who right now are really nervous about that transition to going virtual and feeling like it's too much. They don't know what they're doing, and they're really going to do a bad job trying to make their courses virtual. So, how might they apply this first strategy?
Good question. So it's very easy to get caught up in the what if, right? And we call it a what if trap. It's also called stinking thinking. Some of you guys have maybe heard that term before. I know we all have very valid concerns right now, but it's important not to let our thoughts sort of spiral out of control. So one way you can think, one way you can begin to think about your thinking is called the three C's. So the three C's are catch it, check it, and change it. Um,
So catch it, check it, and change it. So if somebody is really worried about the sort of the teaching thing and they're getting a little bit obsessed with not being able to do a good job, how does this apply?
right, exactly. And I think a lot of people are having that thought. So let's just go ahead and use this skill with that example. So Dr. You said some people are thinking about the fact that they don't know how to sort of flip their classrooms and go virtual. What might be the next thought that comes after that?
Then my students are going to hate what I'm doing and be really upset and give me bad reviews.
Exactly. And if you get bad reviews, then what's going to happen?
Um, then uh, then my application for tenure is going to look really bad, and I really need to get tenure.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Exactly. And so it goes on from there. And we call this catastrophizing. And someone could end up going down the spiral and saying, and then I'll lose my job. Right. So what we want to do is stop that
I'll be
first thought
homeless.
that you, right. What's that?
And then I'll be homeless.
Exactly. And then you'll be homeless. But the reality is, it's probably not going to reach to that point. So we want to stop with that very first negative thought. We want to catch it and then we want to check it and see, is this valid? I mean, is it likely that I'm going to get a whole bunch of negative reviews from the whole class? And then from there, we want to think of a more realistic outcome. So, what's a more realistic outcome, Dr. Yu, as opposed to everyone's going to hate my teaching now? What's a more realistic thought?
Well, more likely they're going to empathize with my struggle because they're likely struggling as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's pretty true. I think a lot of people are having difficulty with this transition. And if you can stop that thought, check it and change it, then you don't feel as anxious. And so that's the goal is as you start to feel anxious and have these thoughts, don't ruminate on them, use the three C's. So that's our first tip that we have.
So the next one that you have list is to be present focused. So does that mean I have to avoid thinking about the past or the future? Is that kind of a Zen thing? What does that really mean?
Yeah, it's more than that. So it's not just about how you're thinking. It's about being completely focused on the present moment, and that's mentally and physically. And this can be hard to do. So I noticed that since we've started working from home, we really don't have a start or end to our day. It just kind of keeps going. And so, one way to be present focused is to set a time to end your day. At 6 o'clock, you say, you know what, this is the end of the workday. We're going to put away our computers and actually be present with our family, and be in this moment versus continuing to worry about the next deadline that you have or what else you need to do.
Yeah, that's actually a really hard one. And I've noticed that I am constantly checking my phone. I may or may not be checking
Uh,
right now.
I just
Um, I get that that's a really difficult one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up a good point, putting your phone away. That's another way that you can remain present focused is just actually putting it down. I had the same problem. I noticed that I constantly was telling my kids, hold on a minute, just a second. And that's when I realized I'm spending way too much time checking my phone for whatever reason. So what I've decided to do is when it's family time, and that's usually around 6 o'clock for us, I actually put my phone in another room. And that allows me to be more present with everyone in my household.
Sounds good. Put the phone away, close the laptop, be present.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the last one is to pay attention to your inner and external responses. So for you, Dr. Yu, what is your cue or indicator that you're feeling uneasy or anxious?
Ah, which one out of so many? I do experience stress in some very specific ways. I get some knots my shoulders. Um, in extreme cases, I've had really bad stomach issues and sometimes some insomnia at
Yeah,
night. It gets really bad.
absolutely. Those are all key indicators for stress or anxiety. And I think sometimes we just keep working. For me, it's not to my stomach. I know when I'm starting to feel that I am completely getting overwhelmed by anxiety. And so that's another time to be present, focus, and just stop and unplug. And that could be taking a walk, listening to music, or just labeling that. Sometimes I'll go to my husband and say, I'm feeling super anxious. But that's a way for you to be present, focus, and not just ignore what's going on because your body is telling you it's time for you to hit pause.
I do really like that suggestion. I think acknowledging and recognizing that you're feeling stress and that it isn't something else, it really just is stress. Has felt good to me in the past. I really think that's a good one to work with. Um, the final tip that you have in here is to see the good and the bad. And I think I really like this one. I'm a very positive person, or at least I try to be. So as an example, like, lately I have had more time to cook, which is one of the hobbies that I like. I've been a little bit more disciplined about exercising because there's nothing else to do. And I've spent a lot more time with my family. So a lot of us are trying to see the good and the bad. Is that how that works?
Absolutely. And that's something that I've always noticed about you is that you have a huge family and you guys spend a lot of time together. And I'm assuming that you're even spending more time now. And this pandemic has allowed me to connect with my kids more and with my husband more. We're playing more board games, charades, having little dance parties. And so while it's hard to be all together in the house, it really has allowed for more connection. And for me, I think the next one has been key and super important, which is self improvement. I think life was so busy before, I didn't have time to just press pause and reflect. And I've been able to do that over the last week and a half and realize that it's important for me to cook healthy meals. And I've been able to do that. I've been able to clean out some closets in my house. um, and in addition to that, I've been able to read for pleasure, which I haven't done in a long time. So the last point we have is to express gratitude. And I like that one. I think we all need to do a little bit more of saying thank you. And as we talk about that one, I wonder, Dr. Yu, do you owe a thank you to anyone?
Definitely to the grocer at Trader Joe's that turned me on to this wine. That's probably not what you were talking about, I imagine. No, well, first of all, I need to thank you because I feel like you've been a really good sounding board for some of this stuff, and you've been inspiring in your willingness to kind of step up and do things with the division like this. But I would also probably need to send some specific thanks to my colleagues who have been great, and my wife, who is going through a lot of the same stuff. She's also a faculty member at another university, and our ability to manage our household, manage the different need to be in different rooms doing Zoom, and to try and take care of our kids and our meals. It's been fantastic to have a partner like that.
That's such a good point. And I promise I did not tell him to say that about me. Uh, but I appreciate it. And, thank you to you as well. We've known each other for years. You've always been a mentor, and you continue to do that today. I think it's also important for us, like you said, to say thank you to the people around us. It's easy to notice the bad, but I try to do, for every complaint, I have 2 compliments. And so try to apply that in my household with my husband and with my kids, but also teaching our kids to say thank you and show gratitude. And so for my girls, just telling them it's important for us to send thank you cards to your teachers. I think as parents right now, we're really appreciating our educators. And so I think that's just one thing to take away, is to show your gratitude to people around you.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. Very nice.
Absolutely. So this is just a link for everyone. If you want to continue this conversation, we'll have a couple of times next week where we're holding live virtual conversations. So you can click this link. It'll take you to a Google form where you can sign up for one of those 2 live conversations. And with that, we want to say thank you out there, and we look forward to connecting with you in our live sessions.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye.